Hello there and welcome to our video. By the way, thank you for watching. This morning, as I was deciding how to commute to class, I was thinking whether I should walk or I should cycle. And then I decided to walk because my pants, they're too tight. But why? It depends on the situation, right? So with any other things that we want to do, you need to think about the suitable method, just like action research. Action research, there are three methods here, but I will talk about qualitative first. How do you know it is a qualitative one? The keyword is not predict but understand. The goals of qualitative is more to understanding a meaning but not proving a quantity or something measurable, more to understanding an idea. And of course it is, as mentioned here, it can be discussed, it can be observed, and more to open-ended question, which means it is debatable. There is no right or wrong about it. You are exploring an idea. It is about exploratory ways of doing research. That is qualitative action research. And there's four here, also very important one. Formulate hypothesis, express in words, summarize interpretation, and also understand an idea. So as you can see, it's not about proving an hypothesis, but formulating one. You're understanding an idea, and then you try to summarize it in different ways, obviously. And you are, as a researcher, it comes from you, the data. You observe, you interview, not based on numbers of population. So I hope more or less you understand what is qualitative method in action research.
So moving on to the qualitative tools in action research. So there are two, which are interview and also observation. So for interview, it can be done one-to-one or in a group, okay? So for the data of interview, it can be collected in a variety of ways, such as audio recording, video recording, and also written notes. So why do we conduct an interview? Because it is actually to probe the ideas of the interviewees on the phenomenon interest that the interviewer is trying to address. Okay, so interview has a different nature in interaction with observation. Why? Because in interview you need to ask the permission of the interviewees, whether they allow you to interview them or not. But different with observation. In observation, it can occur directly and also indirectly. For example, for directly, you tell the students that you want to observe them on the activities that they are doing. So the subject, which is the student, know that you are going to observe them. And the second one is the indirectly. Okay, for example, you are teaching the student. So for the student, they are unaware that you are actually teaching and also observing them. You are the only one that aware that you are observing the students, okay? So for observation, there are three mechanisms and interpreting the data. The first one is descriptive, second one inferential, and the third one is evaluate observation. So for the descriptive, you write down your observation. Okay, for the inferential, you write down the observation that is inferred by the student, which here they infer the body language, the gesture, and also their own behavior. For the third one, evaluate observation, you are the one who infer, you are the one who judge the student gesture, body language, and also behavior. So these two are the tools for the qualitative method. So moving on to the next method.
So the next method is quantitative research method. So what is quantitative research method? A quantitative research method is a method of investigating through gathering of data and performing statistical, mathematical, and also computational techniques. So this method collects data from potential subjects using sampling methods. Few ways of conducting this research is through online polls, surveys, and also questionnaire. So where can we find the sources for quantitative data? Okay, firstly, we can find through surveys, which we can conduct the research through phone calls or in person. Secondly, through observations, which involve the counting of the number of times of a particular phenomenon occurs. And the last one is through secondary data, which you can get from companies' accounts.
Alright, so now that you know about the quantitative research, we will move on with the quantitative research tools.
So for the quantitative research, there are three data collection, which is numerical, ordinal, and also nominal. So for numerical, as you can see from the word itself, numbers. So numerical equals to numbers. It is a total or expressed in a number. Okay, I will explain further for the examples. And the next one is ordinal. Ordinal is a position, for example, where you state the first, the second, third, fourth, and so on. And the last one is nominal. So I can say that there's one word that can describe nominal, which is surreal, but somehow it is also real. It is quite confusing, but I will tell you the example. Nominal cannot be measured, but the data is still collected. So for example, as you can see here in the pie chart, there's male and female. So the female is the blank one, and the male is the colored one. So you can see what I did there, right? Cannot be measured, but still can be measured, if you can understand. And then, okay, so example is surveys, questionnaires, and evaluation. So for surveys, it's where you ask people around. For example, as a student, you ask the students around the campus whether they prefer flipped classroom, traditional classroom, or online. And next one, for questionnaires, is a printed or written question, which is a statistical study. And the last one is evaluation, which is you evaluate the amount of number. Previously, like I said, for the surveys and questionnaires, they involve numbers, right? So you evaluate why, based on the surveys and questionnaire, why do a lot of students prefer online classroom instead of flipped classroom? So why? Yeah, that's it. Okay, moving on.
So let's go to the last part of our content for this lesson, which is actually methods, research methods, which is mixed method. So as you guys know, mixed method is a mix of qualitative and quantitative data. And the reason that they want us to do mixed method is actually because it may provide better understanding of a research question or research problem that we want to deal with. And because of there's advantage and disadvantage of using one of the methods, which, for example, for quantitative, it is more into very systematic and very accurate, but it might provide faulty result because, you know, qualitative is more into, you know, interviews and video. It's more into the content of what people is speaking and all. So that's more of it, like advantages and disadvantages. That's why they think that mixed method is okay to do as the methods to find the findings, and it will provide better conclusion after all. So at the end of the lesson, I hope that you learned something about research methods and tools, how they relate with each other, and I hope you can do better for your action research.